Hey guys, MD Prepper here, doing another machete review. This time on the Gerber Gator Jr. machete, which is obviously from Gerber, as I obviously said before. Now let me say I've owned a lot of Gerber blades and knives and other gear over the years. Loved Gerber. For the price, they're great. I have to say that I love the Gerber line of Bear Grylls blades. They're a little gimmicky, but they're decent blades for the price overall. I'll be doing a review of those in the future, but today we're talking about the Gerber Gator line of machetes. This time in the junior line, the shorter version, which I've got. I don't have the longer version. Picked this up for less than $20. I can't remember exactly. I'd have to look back. I think it was 18 bucks, 19, something like that. Thought it was a good price. Heard a lot of great reviews about the grips on this thing. So, Keith we'll talk about here in a second, as always. So, Gerber Gator machete. Overall blade is 10.75 inches overall there. A little hole up front there to hang over a nail, something like that to keep around. The saw edge here on the back, it's got double saw edges. That's a 9.5 inch saw blade. Let me show you that up close. There's the blade there. It's had some sharpening done to it. We'll talk about it in a second. There's the hole. And there's the saw edge. See that right there? Double line of teeth. Don't know how well that comes out on the camera, but that's actually fairly decent. I'd have to say that's probably the second best part of the blade. The grip, quite long. The overall length is 18.75 inches, so you do the math. 18.75 minus 10.75, what's that? 8 inches on the grip. Grip is nice, very, very nice. I'd have to say this is probably the most comfortable machete grip I've ever held, especially for wet conditions, sweaty, high humidity temperature and all that. It's, called the Gator because it's got a gator skin, alligator skin style pattern rubberized grip on it. Let me see if the camera will pick that up at all. Not sure if you can see that. I think you can. There it is. On the flip side, it looks exactly the same. Alligator skin, basically, in a rubberized version. So that is tremendous as a grip. Like I say, I think this is the best grip I've ever held for a machete. Only problem is, this is one of the worst machete blades I've ever had. I've got $4 or $5 blades from Harbor Freight that hold an edge better than this. I cannot seem to get this thing sharpened enough in my standard sharpening style for machetes. I don't take these things to a bench grinder, that type of stuff, just because I think that's overkill for a machete. I think you should be able to do this with a stone, with some little cheap hand sharpeners to sharpen it up nicely. This thing's dull as dirt. This thing came dull, it remains dull. It's just not the sharpest blade in the world. I would expect better from Gerber, frankly. Sawback's okay, I've used that just a little bit. It's fine. Nothing much to talk about. Two tools in one, but frankly it lacks here on the blade quality. I sharpen it quite a bit with my standard little hand tools and all that, just because that's how I prefer to sharpen a machete. My personal preference. I don't want to take this thing to the bench grinder because I think that's silly for a low-cost blade. Especially a machete. I should be able to beat and hack with this thing. Is it okay? Well, it's decent, I guess. It's got about the same sharpness as my cheap Coleman brand I bought from Walmart a long time back when I had no money. It's described as high carbon steel. Don't know the exact stats on it at all. The finest point of this machete is the grips. The grip is tremendous. It's big, it's broad, you can grip up on it any way you want to, for your swing, whatever you're working on. That's great. Just wish this was on a better blade. Lanyard hole here on the back, which I love. Saw this up front. Standard, I thought, well, maybe there's just a piece of electrical tape there. Maybe that's just supposed to hold things together. No, it's not. Pulled that apart, and the attachment of all this was under there, so I had to wrap it up again. This is for the safety feature of this, which frankly I think is a little silly for a machete. Basically, you wrap it around, loop it in, like so. And supposedly this is supposed to be some kind of safety feature with the Gerber machetes. They got this on the Bear Grylls Parang machete as well. That's somehow supposed to protect your hand, and I don't really see how. It's supposed to protect it from flying out of your hand, etc. Well, maybe it will, I guess, but flops around a little bit. I really do wish this was your standard lanyard that you can loop around your wrist. Now that does loop around my wrist very, very basically, just barely fits in the hole. If you had larger hands in mind, that's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. So, not a huge fan of that personally. Again, this Gator rubber grip is definitely the plus side of this machete. Saw back edge, just decent. I've seen better. A folding saw, one of those collapsible, extendable saws is probably going to be better overall. This thing's just dull. Now I'm going to have to take this thing to my bench grinder at some point, but that's just not my standard for machetes. I just expect to be able to sharpen up easier. For $20 or so, for slightly more, I would prefer this, the United Cutlery Sawback Kukri Machete. Much meaner looking, much better chopper. Maybe not as strong of a sawback on it, in my opinion. It's definitely not as good as this one, but overall you're going to be using the front edge of your machete. And for protection, let's see. We got this little thing versus this. Wonder which one I'd pick. Yeah, definitely this one. For about $5 more or so. Full tank construction here. Check my old videos. It's got the holding hole here for a nail, something like that, to put it up on your wall. I like this a lot better. I've got another one of these I use a lot. Holds an edge better from my experience. Comes with a much better edge overall. Again, this highly rubberized grip, very grippy overall. This one's grippier slightly, but this, the hilt and all, the guard, is tremendously better overall for general use. Though it does make things a little bit problematic for the saw edge. It's not real bad though. For sawing, you're not doing primary sawing with this. Got your giant lanyard here on the back side with your shoestring, if you will. Lots of options for this, even if you don't want to loop it around your wrist. If you do, well, you still got plenty extra you can chop off and use for something else. So for $25, I'd go with this one, frankly. The scabbard sheath this comes with, standard Cordura, nothing special. It's decent, it's okay, no major problems at all. Got the Gerber image there, loops over with some very basic Velcro. Will attach back here with just a standard belt loop. No other ways to carry it other than that. Not bad. Like I said, for $20, I don't know if I'd pay that for this. There she is overall. Looks nice, holds nice in the hand. But darn it, this thing is dull. It just is. I wasn't satisfied with that. For $5 more, I got this. Much more functional overall, in my opinion. Maybe I just got a bad one. I don't know. But I've seen this review complain or concern several times over when I looked around. So, Gerber Gator for $20. United Cutlery for $25 or so. I'd go United Cutlery. I can't even tell if this one's full tank. This one definitely is because you can see it. Anyway, just my thoughts and opinions. MD Prepper, out.